Are you a traditional artist or a consumption artist? I think this is the great debate that I'm watching artists have when it comes to AI technology and what they feel is going to interfere with their job and livelihood. Now, because I feel that I fit into both worlds, I want to explain what they are. Traditional artists are not about trying to make stuff for the masses. They're about making art for their connection to source, their expression and understanding of their human experience, soul experience, whatever their heart desires, right? They're creating from a space of clarity, purity, confusion, whatever. It's an expression. And if they become famous because of that expression, great. But usually when you have traditional artists, you have maybe a few pieces. You don't have like a huge collection, but you know their art well. Like they have a collection of pieces that they've worked on, but they might not be famous. But as compared to a consumption artist, which is what is digital media and different types of things when it comes to production and commercials and all that, that's consumption art, right? Most AI is being used for consumption art, which is most people are not paying attention to every single banner that somebody created for this one-time event, that now that event happened, it's over, and they're going to forget that art. And then there have people where they create something specific for that event that is auctioned off as a piece to remember because it's memorable. That would be traditional art. I feel as artists, we have to decide which one we want to belong to, because I've made this statement before and I wasn't trying to be condescending, but if someone took it that way, so be it. You have to choose how you're going to interact with technology in general. It's not going anywhere, so you have to figure out how you want to utilize it. If you want to make it a weapon against you, it will be a weapon against you. If you want to find a way to make it a tool, make it a tool. So I tell traditional artists, which they're doing really well on their own on TikTok and other platforms already. Most traditional artists already know that it's a hustle about having their things seen and having eyes on their work. So they already know how to get looks and views, which comes down to letting people watch their process, letting people see their inspiration, letting people watch their journey of how they create their art. That is the more traditional art route that I think is a great way for people to see novelty art that they want to have in their home and collect and buy and spend a good dollar amount for, right? Then there's consumption art, which again, if you go buy some candy at the store, do you actually pay attention to the wrapping? Some people do, most people don't. They know the brand, and the brand can change their colors many different ways if they want, but it's not a good idea for a brand, but they could, and as long as the substance inside of the packaging held true to what the person wants. Most people don't pay attention to that art. So there are consumption artists where they can only produce so much, and it's usually not their own idea. It's usually not the art that they're choosing to make, it's what the client needs. So they have to create that. So in my opinion, I think having AI to help that process is great, because you're still going to always require human eyes to oversee any type of machine that is running. It doesn't matter. That's why you have customer service and rebooting and all this reset buttons. That's what it's for, because technology, just like our brain, gets boggled up sometimes, and it needs a rest period, and it needs to be reset, it needs a clean swipe. So when you know that you're a consumption artist, you're not as attached to the art. You know that you're just creating this thing that people need. Now you can have a style of art that you produce that people make you notable for, and that takes you to the traditional artist and a novelty artist, because in my opinion, now you have a notable signature that people are going to pay attention to. If you want to then say, I don't believe in that technology, I don't want to use it at all, I think traditional is the way to go, do so. Throughout the history of art, no one has ever stopped using oil pastels. No one has stopped doing watercolors. No one has stopped doing traditional clay making and pottery and all, right? Machines can still do it, but there's still traditional artistries who still make ways that they can live a profit off of it. And usually the people who are really good at it make a good profit off of it. I'm sorry to tell you, if you are a new upcoming artist, you can be the greatest artist ever. If no one knows your name, then you have to choose. Do I want to be a consumption artist or traditional? Traditional artistry usually takes a little bit longer. That's why they say you got to do the work. Consumption art won't take you as long, but it's not as notable. So you have to understand, you will get paid top dollar, but your art probably won't mean as much to people. you can do both when you have a space where you say, hey, now that I have the money from this job and the money from this work that I did years ago, I can put something together and create my own agency or my own studio, and then I can produce the type of art that I want to produce. That is up to each of us. I just want artists to stop feeling like their hands are tied, like they can't do anything because some large entity or some machine or technology is coming in and making ways for other people who probably don't have access to the same type of source to connection in art to have it. Because in my mind, I would rather more people be into art and playing with art through technology that gets them to then come back to traditional art and they actually play with materials and physical, like, material to make art, right? You want to be able to be playful that way versus it be so much so that the schools and everything else think that it's fine to just wipe out art and the humanities, right? Because they don't think it's as important. What job you're going to need that for? That's been the fight since forever. So I just want artists to feel more empowered. I want them to feel like they can speak up and say, hey, yeah, I don't like the way it's being used, but maybe I can find a way to help use it better to help other people behind me feel more comfortable using it, right? Then I can teach in a way if I want to, or I could become a facilitator. Whatever you want to do, find a way to figure out what you want to be to help the collective, because I don't want us to keep saying, well, that doesn't work and that's not going to help. So what will? What will get people to get back to loving art and respecting art? Because it can't just be, well, I made this thing and it took me a lot of time, so therefore you owe me thousands and thousands of dollars. But if you use this machine, well, now you're a sellout and you shouldn't believe in art. And it's like, that's a weird place to put people. Just keep creating in a way that you want to create. And if you become monetized either way, that is the part of the art world. It's always going to be a hustle to make things off of your own beliefs and your visions and your emotions, right? It's easy to go work for somebody else and produce for them because they've already established that business, that image of what they want it to be. That's their art. Business is art, even if people don't like it. Business has its own art form, right? It's still coming from the mind. It's still coming through emotions. It's just being worked through a logical, practical way. And I think that's where artists are finally getting to, where they're paying attention to, hey, we need to be savvy about how we spend our money and how we use our dollars, because then you know how to give back to your own community without it feeling like an attack. So I don't know if this is going to make sense. I hope it resonates for those it needs to resonate for, but use your creativity in a healthy way that doesn't feel like you're wasting it on something that doesn't make sense to you. That's the point of all of it. No matter how you put your art out, just put it out, right? Tell your story. At the end of the day, it's always about telling a story. So whatever medium or whatever materials you choose to use, utilize it in a way that's going to keep making space for you to grow as well as others. Love ya.